Okay, real talk. You've been told plants are the secret to a healthy heart, right? And then you hear the carnivore crowd yelling that meat is the ultimate superfood. So which is it? Here's the wild part. Both sides swear they can save your heart, but the science says it's not that simple. Heart disease is still the #1 killer worldwide, so if either diet really had the magic answer, we'd all know by now. But that's exactly why we're going to rip this open today. No bias, no hype, just the actual facts and the truth nobody's putting side by side for you. And here's the kicker. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which one gives your heart the best fighting chance. And it's probably not the one you think. You know, I'll be honest, I've been down the rabbit hole on this one. 1 week, I'm reading this huge study saying plant-based diets can literally reverse heart disease. I'm thinking, all right, maybe I should start blending kale smoothies every morning. Then a few days later, I'm watching an interview with this ripped guy on a carnivore diet saying his blood work has never been better and he hasn't touched a vegetable in 3 years. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, so if both of you are right, who's wrong? And more importantly, what's my heart supposed to eat? So here's the deal. Heart disease isn't just another health headline. It's the #1 cause of death worldwide. We're talking over 17 million people every single year. And the crazy part? A huge chunk of that risk comes down to what's on your plate. Now, on one end, you've got the plant-based camp. No meat, no dairy, just plants in all their forms. On the other end, you've got carnivore, all meat, all animal products, no plants whatsoever, sometimes not even spices. Two completely opposite approaches, both claiming to protect your heart. And here's why this matters. If one of these really does a better job at keeping your arteries clean, lowering your blood pressure, and preventing those life-ending heart attacks, then choosing the right one isn't just about diet trends. It's about adding years to your life. All right, before we throw plants and steaks into the ring, let's talk about how diet actually affects your heart. Think of your arteries like the plumbing in your house. Smooth, flexible tubes that carry blood to every part of your body. Now, just like kitchen pipes, if you start building up gunk inside, in this case cholesterol and fatty deposits, the space for blood to flow gets smaller. That's called plaque, and over time, it can harden, block blood flow, or even break loose and cause a heart attack. Here's where it gets interesting. Not all cholesterol is bad. LDL cholesterol, often called the bad kind, is the one that tends to stick to your artery walls. HDL cholesterol, the good kind, helps carry LDL away to be processed and removed. Then you've got triglycerides, basically fat in your blood, which when high, add to the risk. Diet influences all of this. The foods you eat can raise or lower LDL, increase HDL, reduce inflammation in your artery walls, or even help clean out some of that buildup. And that's why both plant-based and carnivore diets claim they're the hero. They just work in completely different ways. The real question is, which one's science actually holds up? Let's start with the plant-based diet. Basically, you're cutting out all animal products. No meat, no dairy, no eggs. Instead, you're loading up on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. One of the biggest heart health claims, it can significantly lower your LDL cholesterol, that bad cholesterol we talked about earlier. And this isn't just marketing fluff. In one landmark study led by Dr. Dean Ornish, patients who switched to a strict plant-based diet, along with other lifestyle changes, actually reversed some of their artery blockages. Not slowed down, reversed. Within just a few weeks, their LDL levels dropped by up to 30%. Here's why. Plants are naturally cholesterol-free and packed with soluble fiber. Think of soluble fiber like a sponge in your gut. It soaks up excess cholesterol and helps flush it out before it ever reaches your arteries. On top of that, fruits and vegetables are loaded with antioxidants, which help reduce inflammation in the artery walls, another major player in heart disease. There's also blood pressure. Multiple large-scale studies, including data from the Adventist Health Studies, show that plant-based eaters tend to have lower blood pressure compared to meat-heavy eaters. Potassium-rich foods like bananas, sweet potatoes, and spinach help relax blood vessel walls, making it easier for blood to flow. And let's not forget weight management. Because plant-based diets are generally lower in calorie density, People often find it easier to maintain or lose weight without counting calories. And maintaining a healthy weight is huge for keeping your heart in top shape. So, on paper, the plant-based diet checks a lot of heart health boxes. Lowers LDL, reduces inflammation, improves blood pressure, supports a healthy weight. But before we crown it the champion, we need to see how the carnivore diet stacks up. Now, let's flip the script. The carnivore diet. This one is the exact opposite of plant-based. It's all animal products, all the time. Meat, fish, eggs, dairy for some, and nothing from the plant kingdom. No fruits, no vegetables, no grains. Some people even go as far as only eating red meat and salt. The main claim from carnivore fans is that by cutting out all carbohydrates, especially refined carbs and sugars, you reduce blood sugar spikes and insulin levels. Why does that matter for your heart? Because high blood sugar and insulin resistance are linked to inflammation in your arteries and a higher risk of heart disease. There's also triglycerides. Several small studies and anecdotal reports show that when people drop carbs to near zero, their triglyceride levels can plummet. That's a win for the heart, because high triglycerides often travel with high LDL cholesterol to create plaque. Supporters also argue that eating more animal fat can raise HDL, that good cholesterol, which helps transport LDL out of the bloodstream. Some point to traditional populations like the Inuit, who historically ate almost entirely animal-based diets and had low rates of heart disease, though their lifestyle, genetics and environment were very different from ours. And here's one of the more controversial claims. Carnivore fans say they feel less overall inflammation, sometimes pointing to improvements in joint pain or autoimmune symptoms. Some blame plant anti-nutrients, like lectins or oxalates, for causing inflammation in sensitive individuals, and by removing them, they say the body calms down. So in theory, the carnivore diet could improve certain heart markers by lowering triglycerides, boosting HDL, and keeping blood sugar steady. But, and this is a big but, the question is whether those short-term benefits outweigh the possible long-term risks for your heart. And that's where we're headed next. All right, so both diets have some impressive claims, but neither one gets a free pass. Let's talk about the possible downsides, starting with plant-based. If you cut out all animal products, you risk missing certain nutrients your heart actually needs. Vitamin B12 is a big one. Without it, your body can't make healthy red blood cells, and over time, that can lead to anemia and even nerve damage. Then there's omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA, which are crucial for reducing inflammation and supporting heart rhythm. Most plant-based eaters have to get these from supplements or specific plant sources like algae oil. And iron. Plant iron isn't absorbed as easily as the kind from meat, so that can be another hurdle. On the other side, carnivore comes with its own set of red flags. First, the obvious. You're getting zero dietary fiber. Fiber isn't just for digestion. It also helps regulate blood sugar, supports healthy gut bacteria, and even lowers cholesterol. Without it, you lose one of your heart's best defenses. Then there's saturated fat and LDL cholesterol. While some people on carnivore see stable or even improved blood markers, others experience a spike in LDL, and high LDL over time is still one of the strongest predictors of heart disease. The problem? We don't have long-term studies on how an all-meat diet affects heart health over decades. And one more thing. Both diets can be socially and practically restrictive. Eating out, family gatherings, travel, it can be tricky, and that stress alone can sometimes lead to unhealthy choices or burnout. So, while each diet has strong points, neither one is bulletproof. That's why the real answer might come from looking at them side by side. All right, let's put these two diets in the ring and see how they stack up when it comes to your heart. Cholesterol levels. Plant-based takes a strong lead here. The evidence is solid. More fiber, no dietary cholesterol, and plenty of antioxidants mean LDL tends to drop significantly. Carnivore can go either way. Some see stable or improved numbers, but others see LDL climb, which is a big red flag long-term. Blood pressure. Again, plant-based has the edge. Potassium-rich foods and low sodium naturally help bring blood pressure down. Carnivore can improve blood pressure too, mainly by cutting processed carbs and sugars, but without those plant minerals, it's harder to match the effect. Inflammation. Plant-based gets points for antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. Carnivore supporters argue it reduces inflammation for certain individuals by cutting out plant irritant, but on a population level, more studies support plant-heavy eating for reducing inflammatory markers. Triglycerides and blood sugar control. Here, carnivore often shines. Removing virtually all carbs means triglycerides can drop and blood sugar stays rock steady. Plant-based can do this too, especially if it's low in refined carbs, but results vary more depending on the food choices. Long-term safety. This is where the data gap appears. We have decades of long-term research on plant-based and heart health, showing reduced risk of heart disease. For carnivore, the long-term evidence just isn't there yet, so we're still guessing about potential risks decades down the road. So, if we're scoring this purely on heart protection with the data we have right now, plant-based gets more check marks. But carnivore does have some metabolic wins, especially for people with blood sugar or triglyceride issues. The best choice? That depends on your personal health goals and how your body responds. So here's the takeaway. There's no single diet that's perfect for absolutely everyone. What really matters is how your body responds and how sustainable that choice is for you. If you're leaning plant-based, great. Focus on variety. Mix in beans, lentils, whole grains, leafy greens, nuts and seeds, so you're getting all the nutrients your heart needs. And yes, supplement with vitamin B12 and consider omega-3 from algae oil to cover your bases. If carnivore feels more your speed, make sure you're still getting essential nutrients that normally come from plants. That could mean incorporating fatty fish for omega-3s, paying close attention to your blood work, and working with your doctor to keep an eye on cholesterol and other markers over time. And here's a little secret. You don't have to be 100% in either camp to see benefits. Many people thrive on a middle ground approach, like the Mediterranean diet. Lots of plants, healthy fats, lean proteins, and occasional meat. In fact, research shows this style can cut heart disease risk by up to 30%. The point is, your heart doesn't care about diet labels. It cares about clean arteries, stable blood pressure, low inflammation, and balanced blood sugar. However you get there, that's the diet that's right for you. All right, now I want to hear from you. Have you tried going fully plant-based, carnivore, or maybe somewhere in between? What changes did you notice in your energy, your health, or even your blood work? Drop your story in the comments. I'm genuinely curious, and it might help someone else who's still deciding which way to go. Let's make this a real conversation, not just a one-way video. And here's something most people never think about. Even if your diet is perfect, your heart could still be at risk because of how you sleep. Yep, too little sleep is bad, but research shows sleeping more than 8 hours a night could actually increase your chances of heart problems. Sounds backwards, right? In my next video, we'll break down why oversleeping might quietly be damaging your heart and what you can do about it starting tonight. Trust me, you're going to want to see this one.